Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in Jew. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily. You can continue this conversation and any other conversation within reason with me over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So give me an ad, follow, and let's have a chat. But on today's edition of the dceu Daily, I have three articles to read to you. Three very articles to read to you. Now, three very awesome articles to read to you, by the way. Obviously, today's a big day because we're finally getting the trailer of Birds of Prey, The Emancipation of One, Harley Quinn. You know I love doing that title. It's amazingly long and it's juicy with the syllables, isn't it? So I'm going to read you an article because it's just been announced who is composing the score, and I'm very, very excited. Get your words out, Mick. And then I'm going to read you about the pre-sales, an article about the pre-sales of the Joker movie. And finally, apparently, according to Screen Rant, these articles are all from Screen Rant, and apparently the Batgirl movie will be part of Matt Reeves' The Batman universe, which is awesome news. So let's begin today here on the dceu Daily. Spider-Verse composer Daniel Pemberton scoring Birds of Prey. Wow, I loved what that composer did for Spider-Verse. So really exciting, very surprising, and no matter how the Grace Randolphs of this world try to kind of put the DC universe of movies in a poor light, it's interesting actually, because last night I did that gif on Twitter, you know, where Jon Snow's holding the sword and they're all coming running towards him, and I kind of said, come on DC fans, they're going to be coming for us tomorrow, they're going to start crapping all over the Birds of Prey trailer and the Joker movie. It's time to defend our franchise, and I'm ready, but are you? So let's read this. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse composer Daniel Pemberton is now putting together the score for another comic book movie, Birds of Prey and the fantabulous Emancipation of One, Harley Quinn. I missed out fantabulous, so sue me. The lengthily titled film was directed by Kathy Yan and marks the return of Margot Robbie as the DC Extended Universe's Harley Quinn, while also introducing an all-female Gotham City superhero team, Birds of Prey. Robbie made her debut as Harley in David Ayer's 2016 film Suicide Squad, and while the movie itself failed to impress the critics, who cares what they think anyway, eh? Harley Quinn stood out as a highlight. Warner Brothers is now banking a lot on the character, as evidenced by Harley Quinn being centerpiece of the posters for the Birds of Prey. So far, where Ares Suicide Squad saw Harley being slavishly devoted to her boyfriend, the Joker in Birds of Prey, she's kicked that clown to the curb and is ready to have some fun. Fortunately, Pemberton is well versed in composing the score for fun movies. In addition to Into the Spider-Verse, he was also the composer for the crime caper Ocean's 8, Guy Ritchie movies King Arthur and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and more recently created the musical landscape for Netflix's acclaimed fantasy series Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Film Music Reporter broke the news of Pemberton scoring the Birds of Prey, and the man himself confirmed it on Twitter by sharing one of the new posters. Well, I didn't know this. Oh yes, this is one of the posters. There's loads of posters going out there, but this is one of them. Basically, they've basically all, let's have a look, closer look. They've all basically featuring Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. They're really pushing her as the main centerpiece of this movie. And this is a bone of contention for some people because the title begins with Birds of Prey and Harley isn't part of that team in the comics either. I think it's a very interesting crossover and I'm very excited. This is one test screening I missed out on. So all I can tell you is people who saw this film really liked it, even the recent screen test. So for me personally, right, I'm very excited. I'm glad Pemberton's doing the music. I love the Spider-Verse music. So I'm really excited, and I'm really excited to actually finally see this trailer today because I think it's going to be awesome. I hope it's a lengthy trailer. I hope it's not another kind of tease We've had too many teases for this film. We need at least a 1.5 minute, 2 minute, maybe even longer, hopefully. Hey, we can dream, right? So we're finally going to see what this movie is all about. Obviously, we won't see everything, but, you know, a trailer gives you a good idea of what you're going to get. So I'm really, really excited for this trailer. And obviously, I'm going to do a trailer reaction. Coming up next, we're going to read all about the pre-sales for Joker. Let's talk about these Joker pre-sales. Joker's Atom ticket pre-sales outpacing Venom, It's Chapter 2, and more. Let's give this a read. This is very encouraging. Joker is firmly on track to outpace other R-rated and similarly released films from recent years in pre-sales alone, according to Atom Tickets. Directed by Todd Phillips and starring Joaquin Phoenix, the film will serve as a wholly standalone character study via the prism of DC's most infamous villain. After a lifetime of abuse and ridicule, Joker sees struggling stand-up comedian Arthur Fleck Phoenix spiral towards a new depths of madness and ultimately lash out at the society of Gotham City. 1981, all under the guise of the new emerging persona known as the Joker. The film has already started riding a wave of acclaim and success ahead of its public release. Upon its premiere at the Venice Film Festival, Joker received an 8-minute standing ovation and ultimately won the festival's Golden Lion Award. According to many, it could very much end up as a contender for a Best Picture nomination at the next Academy Awards. Such predictions have emerged in the wake of an increasingly vocal backlash against the film, with some believing it could inspire a wave of similarly violent acts from certain members of the public. So prevalent have the concerns become that Joker-specific cosplay has been banned from theatres, which is freaking pathetic. We can't, because of SJWs, we can't even enjoy a character we celebrated for many years, such as the one in Aurora that experienced a tragedy in 2012. Won't screen Joker at all. Even the US military has reportedly been warned regarding the potential for such acts. Regardless, it would appear to have done a little to assuage people's eagerness to see the film. Atom Tickets has offered an update regarding Joker's ticket pre-sales. Despite having a relatively small sales window beginning pre-sales on September 23rd, they're still doing exceedingly well. Joker currently has the second best pre-sales of an R-rated movie this year, falling behind only John Wick Chapter 3, which is no surprise, which had its violence recently compared directly to Joker's. It's already surpassed It's Chapter 2, Jordan Peele's Us and Glass, which had similar time frame for advanced ticket sales. Even more significantly, Joker's success in pre-sales is already outpacing Venom, all but confirming that it will break the October record held by Sony's own comic book offering. The news has lined up with Atom's own recent poll, which in terms of passionate anticipation had Joker second only to Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Equally, Phoenix came second in the survey of leading men that fans were most eager to see on the big screen this year. Phoenix, like the film, emerged as the solid runner-up, with Dwayne Johnson landing top spot for his role of the Spencer in Jumanji, The Next Level. Oh my God, people are freaking nuts. The announcement also couldn't be more timely, with a new video going viral online that has Phoenix's Joker dancing to Venom's own soundtrack. How brilliant is that? DC and Warner Brothers have taken a few hits over the last few years, most notably in the underwhelming reactions to Justice League. As a result, they opted to switch tracks and focus more on standalone, if occasionally still loosely connected fare. Such tactics already paid off with the hugely successful box office return of Aquaman and even more positive reception to the Zachary Levi starring Shazam. Still, the numbers indicate that the upward swing is far from over, and with Joker, they may be about to experience their biggest combination of commercial and critical success yet. And how do the SJWs feel about that? It must be terrible for you to know that people are desperate to see this film, that this film is going to make a hell of a lot of money and break the October box office, and it's going to break many, many R-rated movie records. Wow, people want to see this. What are the opinions of this film we should take notice of, and which of the ones should we ignore? I definitely think that the TIFF critics got to be ignored. Absolutely got to be ignored. They're not focusing on the film. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? If I can find it right now, I'm going to pause this and come back very quickly, because it'll be paused, so we'll be back quickly, right? And we're going to read a Collider review for the Joker movie. I'll be right back. There's a lot of people offended by this film, not because of its great content or what a great movie this is, but because it stars a white man who's suffering with mental health. And what happens is, because of that, he becomes the Joker and he does some very terrible things because society had treated him badly. Because society only treats people of colour and women badly, and people from the LGBTQ community. So we must only tell stories about those people. White men are really, really bad, and we mustn't talk about those people. So yes, basically the Toronto Film Festival reaction, you may as well ignore. That's when it all started kicking off, when SJW critics got involved. The film won the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival. There's no higher plaudit apart from the Academy Awards, apart from the Oscars. It's already critically acclaimed by the people you should be listening to, and it's going to make a hell of a lot of money. Walter Hamada's and Todd Phillips' idea of doing standalone movies is working. Now let's read. Now, the official Collider review was very positive, but this is from Matt Goldberg, and he's got some accusations in his review. So should we read them? Joker review, Todd Phillips crafts a big joke without a punchline. Here we go. In The Dark Knight Joker, Heath Ledger says, as you know, madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. In Todd Phillips' Joker, madness is like gas. It fills the space to which it is confined. But it's also thin, ethereal, and lacks substance. That's a lie, but we'll keep on reading. The craft of the film, the cinematography, the score, the production design, along with Joaquin Phoenix's magnetic, dedicated performance, is outstanding. Phillips has created an eye-catching, atmospheric take on Gotham, but he hasn't done anything interesting with it. Really? Really, Matt? Well, look, mate, you're lying. You're lying. But we'll keep on going. Instead, he's content to push a bunch of hot-button issues like mental health, income inequality, and celebrity obsession, and just kind of let it sit as sort of a madness stew, which renders the movie oddly inert. It's a movie that wants the appearance of a challenging picture, but it never pushes its audience anywhere uncomfortable. It doesn't push its audience anywhere uncomfortable. I think you may need to rewatch the film, Matt. Because it has the trappings of a standard superhero origin story. The more we learn about Joker, the less interesting he becomes, and the narrative carries less urgency. No, Matt, you're lying, and you know you're lying. We know why you don't like this film, because it stars a white man. It's okay, we understand. You're very upset. A lot of you are very upset. Let's continue. Arthur Fleck, Phoenix, is a clown for hire in the late 70s, early 80s. Gotham City that looks a lot like 70s, early 80s New York City. Arthur suffers from a condition that causes him to laugh uncontrollably. When he's upset or nervous, his brain basically processes emotional pain. It's laughter that also sounds like crying. As Arthur suffers from indignance like losing his job and being bullied and learning the truth about his mother, Frances Conroy, what remains of Arthur's sanity starts peeling away, and he starts transforming into the recognisable supervillain, the Joker. Joker is a movie that constantly wants to have it both ways. Reliable comic book story, but also a gritty tale of urban madness. The film is at its most interesting when Joker's origin story and its exploration of madness mirrors Batman's origin. We're all the heroes of our own story, so why is Batman, who also wears a mask and commits acts of violence? He commits acts of violence to save people and protect people. You forgot that, Matt. You forgot. Anyway. Consider the hero while Joker is the villain. If you told the story from Joker's perspective, wouldn't he be its hero? The notion that Batman and Joker are two sides of the same coin is worth exploring. Although it doesn't really hold up since Batman isn't crazy. He's traumatized, but the Joker works overtime to blur the distinction between the two. That's kind of gross, but it goes back to the movie trying to have it both ways, because a movie can't have it both ways, can it? Either madness, as it's initially presented in the movie, is more ineffable, that I can't read that thing, that permeates societies and individuals like incurable sickness, or it can be explained with a proper medical history, and Arthur should just stay on his medication. Matt, have you ever suffered with a mental health condition? You have just insulted every single person who suffers with mental health problems. Did you really say that? Well, it's here, and it looks like you said it. This is why you are not qualified to be talking about the mental health commentary in this film. This ambivalence severely weakens the movie. No, it doesn't, because rather than using a comic book inspired story to pursue some rich ideas or tough concept, Joker merely wears the clothing of a Martin Scorsese picture. How dare it? Putting on outfits like the King of Comedy or Taxi Driver without the courage to really follow through on any critique to a conclusion. No, because mental health commentary doesn't have a conclusion. You can't wrap it up in cotton wool and say, there, this is what it's all about. And this is what people like you, who are too used to the MCU, just can't deal with. So where are we? For example, the Gotham we see here is slowly going mad and violent. The incident involving the Joker sets off a cascade of riots. But to what end? The film doesn't have the wherewithal to seriously critique income inequality or specify what exactly is broken about society beyond maybe we should put more money and effort into a mental health care system. Hang on a minute. So you want the film to find the reasons why there's poverty in Gotham? It's pretty obvious, because the government and local authorities aren't done. You want to be spoon-fed? Go and watch the MCU, Matt. Now, off you go. It wants credit for death, but if you don't buy it, then hey, it's just a joke, like the Joker. Heads Joker wins, tails you lose. Some have fretted that this glorification of the Joker and giving him a superhero origin of sorts could inspire violent copycats, which I suppose is possible. But I don't believe violent psychopathy is one Todd Phillips movie away from ignition. Yes, films have the power to affect us emotionally in both positive and negative ways. But the kicker is that Joker is kind of a nothing burger. It doesn't have the courage or thoughtfulness to say anything about anything beyond Joker being the hero of his own story. And I suppose that's as liable to get set someone off as anything else. If anything, it kind of callous towards madness, using it as a convenient crutch for Arthur's story arc, but not commenting upon its beyond. Hey, society, let's not be mean to each other, or else. Yes, let's not be mean to each other, because when we're mean to someone, look what happens. They can take up their frustrations on the world in devastating fashion like the Joker does. Or they could hurt themselves, self-harm. Or they could, God forbid, end up killing themselves. That's the message Todd is telling in this film. You are twisting it to seem like something else because you're upset. And we all know why you're upset, Mr. Goldberg, and you can't win. Golden Lion, box office records, sit back down. Whenever you consider these massive shortcomings in the storytelling and subtext, it's kind of amazing Joker works even half as well as it does. A large part of that is due to Phoenix, who, let's face it, is just one of the greatest actors of his generation. This year I've seen him play both Jesus and the Joker, and he's equally credible as both. His commitment to the role here is outstanding, and while comparisons to Ledger's Oscar-winning performance are inevitable, Phoenix makes the role his own while taking nothing away from Ledger's work. Joker gives us the full arc of a character, and Phoenix dives in with his entire body. I was worried this would be a case of most acting, but there's a lot of nuance and pathos to his performance that makes this irritation of the Joker character feel worthwhile, and even if the story itself is not. I also like the style of the movie, even though Phillips relies far too heavily on slow pushings of slow pullbacks on Arthur's sketchful fame. The film doesn't hide its Scorsese influences. And to be fair, if you're going to be inspired, it may as well be inspirational from one of the best. Lawrence Sher's cinematography is constantly striking, painting rich views of a city in decay. Even though the film doesn't really have anything interesting to say about that decay. It doesn't have anything interesting. You're seeing the people. You're seeing how they're struggling. I think that's a pretty interesting thing to say. But again, Matt, you want to be spoon-fed everything. Why is there poverty? Why have people got no money? Right? Why are you a blogger? Why are you talking about films? Why have you never told me, Matt? I need to know. You should never write another article again. Do you understand the point that I'm making, everyone? I have nothing further, Your Honour. Take Matt Goldberg down. He's under arrest. There's a cynical bargain the studio and the audience have made with Joker. You have an audience that's afraid to branch out and try new things. Money is tight, and time for entertainment is even tighter with so much content vying for our attention. The Exchange is Joker, a movie in the mould of Martin Scorsese, but for people that are more comfortable seeing something within the familiar confines of a comic book story, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with a comic book story or taking it seriously. The issue is the Joker uses its inviting Batman IP to give the audience the illusion of a serious film. No, it's not an illusion. It is a serious film. You are lying. You are misinterpreting the film. And I've already sat you down multiple times. Again, Joker isn't really about anything. The Joker isn't about anything. Oh, Matt, you really need help, don't you? And you can see why a studio would be comfortable having it as a tentpole. It doesn't challenge anything or anyone. Yes, it does, you're lying. But it carries itself as a very serious movie. And so the people who see it must be very serious. He's just not happy. He's so upset. It's brilliant. It's brilliant to see these SJWs so upset. But wrapping it up in trying to say it's the movie's fault because it's not saying anything, which it is. But no one, neither the studio nor the audience, is really reaching. If the audience wanted to see a movie with an excellent Joaquin Phoenix performance, where he plays a violent character whose sanity is slowly deteriorating, they would have showed up, for you were never really here. Here we go, right? Here we go. Many of Joaquin's films are indie films. They don't get a big audience. But the people who see them appreciate them, and Joaquin doesn't make them for that. People do want to see this movie. I've just spoken about the ticket sales. Again, you're lying. And grossed 2.5 million during its run. Yes, because all you think about, you people, is the MCU box office, and everyone should make the same money. You're talking about an indie film, and this proves, Matt, you know nothing about film. You don't care about the content. You just care about the business, right? And this is the problem. Warner Bros. Wanted to make a dark and gritty movie about madness and society. They didn't have to put it behind the DC logo. Oh, how dare they? Because it's intimidating to these MCU fans. We're doing something they can't. And this guy and many others don't like it. But hey, they know they can't sell it without pre-existing IP. No, that's not the point. They've decided to do something interesting with the pre-existing IP. You're wrong, Matt. You're wrong. Both parties get to pretend they're part of something courageous and daring, and that's the biggest joke of all. He's given it a C rating. Wow, he's given it a C rating. And this is the problem with Collider. Wow. This is a long video, and I don't care, and I hope you're staying with me on Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily. Right, let's just round up what I've read. Joker is about nothing. It's not trying to say anything, and it's trying to be serious and important when it's not, which is the biggest joke of all. That's not my words, that's Matt Goldberg's words. I'm sorry, Matt, you've just proven you know jack shit about films, my friend. You know nothing about the movie-going audience. You said people won't want to go and see this film because they would have gone and seen Joaquin's other indie films, which you know is a load of bullshit because people didn't even know about those films. The reason people want to see this film, it's a Joker movie. This is a fabulous origin movie, and this film says many things about poverty and madness and mental illness. It's beautiful, it broke my heart in the right way, and it made me think about my own mental health struggles. So there, Matt, go back, sit there crying your little MCU heart out that DC are doing it. Walter Hamada is turning it around. He saved the Aquaman movie, which was a piece of piss. It was a mess before Walter and his people got involved. Then they did Shazam, which was a wonderful film that made a very small box office but made a big profit because of the budget, because Walter is a genius with budgets. He can make good films for little money. Now the Joker and the Birds of Prey, they're gunning for the Birds of Prey movie as well. They can't handle it. But this time, this is not like the MOS narrative and the BVS narrative, because now we're getting really big filmmakers making very clever films under the DC logo. And these people who just want someone to wink at a camera and make them laugh cannot handle it. So he's twisted it all around to make this film be about nothing. But the joke's on him, because the only thing this review proves, that this is just a young blogger talking absolute shit about something he knows nothing about. Yes, and here's another wonderful article from Screen Rant. If they let me go on to go, oh my God, come on, let me do this. What is going on here? Sorry about this. I can't find it. This was meant to be a really good article. I'm sorry about this. I've just got. I'm really sorry. I'm really disappointed about that because that article I was going to read out to you was about Michelle Pfeiffer talking about an actor whose name I forgot being a really good chance of. Is it Ellie Fanning? I think they were talking. She was talking about Ellie Fanning being a great replacement for her as Catwoman. It's funny. I was watching Batman Returns, which is one of my favourite films. Just remembering how great that version of Catwoman is. Anyway, finally today, Batgirl movie will reportedly tie in directly with the Batman. This has to happen. This is so important. Now, because the Bat universe needs to be tied in together. Now, I support the fact that Walter wants standalone movies and they're kind of keeping away with too much of the interconnected universe, but it'll still be there. And I think we'll see that with Wonder Woman 84 and the Flash movie, which I'm very confident Cyborg will be a big part of as well, and other DCEU characters. But let's give this a read. DC's Batgirl movie will reportedly tie in directly with the Batman. Though the female iteration of the famed crime fighting Kate Crusader has been around since 1961, some 22 years after Batman made his first appearance. To date, Batgirl has never had her own standalone feature film. With the success of the Batgirl comic series and the upcoming Batwoman series, let's not talk about that, set to launch October the 6th on CW, it's evident that fans are eager to see a female counterpart to Batman share a little bit of superhero spotlight. It's not about her gender. Batgirl's a great character. So was Batwoman before the CW got their hands on it. And people want to see a Batgirl movie because she's awesome. And the fact that she's a woman's got nothing to do with it. The fact that Superman's a man has nothing to do with his popularity. This whole it's just crazy. There have been rumours for some time that Warner Bros. Was indeed planning a Batgirl movie, but as time passed, it didn't seem as though the project was getting any closer to getting on track. However, with the search currently underway for a female director, it appears that Warner Bros. Has gotten over its brief stumble with director Joss Whedon, who lamented that he simply couldn't find a story in the concept. He was lying. He was sacked because of Justice League. As well as growing calls for Batgirl to be directed by a woman. Again, this shouldn't be a thing, right? Males should be able to direct women, and women should be able to direct males. They are crazy. Having found a female screenwriter in Christina Hodgson, Christina is writing many DC properties now, even male-led ones. Stop pinpointing people's genders and putting people in boxes. Hodgson, Bumblebee, Warner has placed Batgirl at the top of its list for upcoming releases, and a female director will likely be found soon enough. Again, mentioning a female director, very important, of course. In fact, just in case Batgirl fans were doubtful over whether a feature film starring their beloved hero would be arriving anytime soon, a new article by Forbes looks to reveal numerous things about Warner's much anticipated and upcoming The Batman. The most interesting for Batgirl fans is the new movie will reportedly directly tie in with The Batman. Exactly how Batgirl will become a part of the film or to what degree is currently unknown. But even this tiny reveal is big news for fans. So far, what's known about Matt Reeves' The Batman is that it intends to pack quite a punch. Rumoured to be an adaptation of the long Halloween storyline, The Batman looks set to introduce a vast array of characters into its plot, some of which, of course, are villains and some of which are heroes. In this respect, there's ample opportunity for Batgirl to find a place, allowing for the film's story to perhaps take shape with one of Batman's subplots. And with the names that are currently being offered up as potential cast members for the Batman, such as Jonah Hill and Jeffrey Wright, there's likely to be a star-studded cast in the works. And of course, Batman movies, ever since the first Tim Burton one, have had star-studded casts, haven't they? Exactly who will play Batgirl remains a mystery as well. But so far, the promise of something truly spectacular being delivered seems to be growing with each passing day, I agree. If there's a concern to be raised over this apparent time between the Batman and Batgirl, is that Reeves' DC will overdo a good thing in terms of the Batman's cast. Too many characters where they'd be widely popular villains or heroes can sometimes swallow up the story itself. No, and they're going to start talking about Batman Returns. If they don't, I'll be surprised. But Batman Returns did it great with all their characters. I think it worked, and this is going to work because there's going to be a mystery and all these characters are going to be suspects, and that makes it awesome. Here we go, little more than visual experience with no real substance, which I don't agree with, by the way. This has happened in the past, particularly with Joel Schumacher's Batman films. I don't agree. And it would be a shame for Batgirl to get its start from a film that failed to reach the lofty expectations already set upon it. You don't know if it's not going to reach its lofty expectations. Yes, you go on about connectivity like the MCU, and they're going to do it, and then you start complaining. But of course, it's far too early for such worries. Yes, but you still made them, didn't you? For now, news that Batgirl will be arriving in some form at least, sooner rather than later, is still great news. For fans, yes, it is. And this is important, because we do want connectivity within the DCEU. I think all the DC films deserve to have their own story and their own characters in them, without worrying about overly connecting. But I think when there's an opportunity, you can create connectivity. Now, what's important about the Bat family? That you have a Bat universe where they're all connected to each other. So having Batgirl in Matt Reeves' The Batman is a very good idea and very vital, and one I'm really excited about. Woo! This was a long edition of the DCEU Daily. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I got very passionate, very annoyed at times, but these bloggers will lead you to that. So please comment down below. Are you excited about the pre-sales of the Joker movie? Are you excited about today's big DCEU day, the trailer of Birds of Prey and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn? Wow, I can't wait to see it. What do you think of Collider's guy, Matt Goldberg, and what he said about the Joker? Please comment down below. The more likes this video gets, the more it'll get noticed, so please do that as well. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you for more DCEU Daily tomorrow. I need to rest his voice.